Like, I don't know, man. Like, there's a lot. There's a lot to. There's a lot to it than we would like to think. Every link, where's every link? Okay, every clue linking Diddy to Tupac and Biggie. All right, so let's just get into this. Start to rap law, rap, rap. No,
Then click on workouts and click add new workout.
Now that Diddy's been indicted,
all right. Listen, we're gonna dive into this mystery and we're gonna get this solved. There's other things I'm gonna show you that I've seen before, but this will probably be like for another stream and all that stuff there. But we're gonna get into this one right now. Every clue linking Diddy to Tupac and Biggie's unaliving. All right, by rap law. This is his content, so I'm gonna give him the respect he deserves. Because I understand the dedication and the timing to be able to put pieces of information together. All right, so listen, if you're a Biggie fan, hit that subscribe button. If you're a Tupac fan, hit that subscribe button. If you already have been subscribed, make sure you like, leave a comment, let me know what you want to see as well, because other than just react to content, in fact, there's something else I do want to react to after this. Let me find.
will we finally get answers about the alleged role he played in the tragic deaths of Tupac and Biggie?
Who killed Tupac and Biggie? I think both of these dudes were assassinated in some kind of way. More Biggie than Tupac.
Not a day goes by without new info.
And I'm pretty sure in that same interview he said, if you find out if you sold one, you sold them both. I'm pretty sure it's that same interview. Ice Cube did say something along those lines. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm pretty sure he said something along those lines, which I find very intriguing when you think about the context of everything. Like, and now that, you know what I mean? It's just, like, anyway, let's keep it moving, though. Let's keep it moving.
Coming out about Sean Diddy Combs. Whether it's reports about Diddy's new life behind bars, information about his trial, or a jaw-dropping 100+ new accusers coming forward, the secrets behind the freak-offs are finally being exposed to the world. But all this attention on Diddy is making people do a lot more than take a closer look at his parties. People are also re-examining his alleged role at the center of the two most notorious murders in hip-hop history, the deaths of Tupac and Biggie.
If you notice, they're both in similar pattern, if that makes any sense, the same way, and it's within months of each other. It's not like a year or 2 years or 3 years or 4 years. It's not that long. I'm pretty sure. Hang on. Let me see something real quick. How many months apart did Biggie and Tupac? 6 months apart. That's literally half a year. 6 months. That's half a year. Matter of fact, it must be 6 months, because obviously it was March. No, was it March or May? May. Yeah, it was May. So September 26, 1996. Yeah. So not 26, September 1996. So you got, it's March. Was it March 9th? Yeah, it was March. So anyway, so Tupac was September, Biggie was March, right? So here we go. So you got October, November, December, January, February, March. That is 6 months apart.
Not only did these murders change the trajectory of Diddy's career, but they also changed the world forever. That's why we're digging into Diddy's alleged involvement in the deaths of these two superstars. What role did Diddy play in making Biggie Smalls the king of New York? What details do we have about Diddy's alleged ties to Tupac's murder in 1996? And how did Puff Daddy benefit from Biggie Smalls' murder just a year later? We've invested countless hours into digging through court records, transcripts, and long forgotten.
This is why I respect everyone behind this channel, you know what I mean? Because the fact that they're able to find a way to take time to literally dig deep into these cases and figure, okay, let's you know what I'm saying? So let's go, man. Let's go. Shout out this channel still.
Gotten interviews to give you the most complete picture possible of Diddy's alleged involvement in two of hip-hop's most monumental tragedies. And when you see all the connections we found between the untimely deaths of other people very close to Diddy, by the end of the video, the way you think about the entire music industry is going to change. But to understand all this, we need to go back to the initial rise of Puff Daddy, riding the coattails of legendary MC, the Notorious B.I.G.
Want to know the secret to my success? I hired an accountability coach. Let me explain.
I already have the advert. You want to know the secret to my success? And we're going to talk about the secrets of basically Diddy's rise to fame, innit? And it really was rising the coattails of Biggie. And it took until his unfortunate demise for when you think about it, yeah. No, wait, because I'm gonna react. I may react to today, I may not. It'll probably be another video because it is quite long. When you think about it, I genuinely believe, and I could be completely wrong here, I think. No, let's just keep it moving.
My music is being so well received because it's just some real you know.
During the early 90s, New York was no longer the mecca of rap. Dr. Dre's debut solo album, The Chronic, was the highest-selling rap album of 1992. The very next year, Dre's protege Snoop Dogg smashed records when he put out Doggy Style, the fastest-selling album of all time. The West Coast had the game on lock, led by Los Angeles-based Death Row Records. But across the country, Sean Puffy Combs put together his own rival label in New York City. In '93, Diddy founded Bad Boy Records, and one of his very first artists was Christopher Wallace, aka the Notorious B.I.G. When Biggie's album Ready to Die dropped in September of '94, it made Biggie Small a genuine superstar. And more than that, it showed that the East Coast could still show up and hang with the West. Oh, and Puffy, he was all over the album. He danced in the music videos and provided vocals on songs.
All in the videos. I genuinely have to react to that full award show. But yeah, yo. I know it was a 1995 Source Award. You know why I know? Because at that time, anyway, it's like, because Suge Knight's explained it, why he even made that, because it was still in a sense that basically he signed Tupac, basically. Tupac's on that label, on, you know what I mean? It's on DR, and it's like, okay, if you think about it, like the type of, it's hard to explain, and I guess obviously they must have had conversation because, well, obviously they did, but like, don't get it twisted. Tupac was like, I'm not saying he was friends with Diddy or Puffy back then as he'd known, but he was well aware of Puffy before the whole situation that transpired. You know what I'm saying? Because Biggie and Tupac were friends at the time. Like there's so many things that people are not even aware of. Like people may not know that they were friends at first, but they're not aware of. Do you know what I mean? That's hard to explain, but anyway.
Songs like Juicy and Warning. Puffy's voice is even the first voice you hear on Biggie's debut album.
Come on, push it so much. One more time, come on.
Ready to Die helped crown the Notorious B.I.G. as the new king of New York, but just 2 months later, both Big and Puffy became embroiled in the deadliest rap beef of all time. On November 30th of 1994, Tupac was invited by Biggie to quad record.
See, look, let me just tell you something here. This video here, like I said, Tupac and Biggie were actually friends. This video in particular, this wasn't on the 30th of November 1994, this video, by the way. What was it? I think it was like in 1993. No, yeah, it was 1993 because 30th of November 1994 is when the fatal incident took place. But it's like, and what we were talking about prior to this, like, so the thing is, if you think about it, because in 1990, like, a year is pretty much a long time. It's a long time. But these two were friends. They were friends. Like, do you think it was a joke when Tupac actually said, Biggie, do you remember when I used to let you sleep on my couch? That's all about Versace. You copied my style. Do you think he was joking? Even when Biggie says, baby, 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 oh, baby, that is from Tupac. I don't think people understand how much Tupac influenced Biggie and also influenced Diddy as well. Like, people don't understand. Like, when I say Tupac is the one of, because of Kendrick Lamar, now I can say Tupac is one of the greatest rappers of all time. I can't just say he is the greatest rapper of all time anymore. I have to say he is one of. But then obviously there's Nas, whether you like to admit it or not. There's Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying? Whether you like to admit it or not. You know what I mean? Let's go.
Recording studios in Manhattan. At this point, Pac and Big were extremely close. Lil Cease, one of Biggie's proteges, claims that Biggie visited Pac's house frequently and they even traveled together. But Pac would later claim that Puffy was blowing up his phone non-stop after he was invited to Quad. In fact, Pac claimed that Diddy was unusually focused on the exact time that he would arrive to the studio. Rumor had it that at this time, Pac had been digging around intel on Diddy's behind-the-scenes activities, including the possible mistreatment of Usher, who was still a teenager, by Diddy. As soon as Pac walked right into the lobby of Quad Studio.
Rewind. Hold on. Rewind. We're gonna turn on the captions because, hey, yo, what was that? No, what was that?
Big were extremely close. Lil Cease, one of Biggie's proteges, claims that Biggie visited Pac's house frequently and they even traveled together. But Pac would later claim that Puffy was blowing up his phone non-stop after he was invited to Quad. In fact, Pac claimed that Diddy was unusually focused on the exact time that he would arrive to the studio. Rumor had it that at this time, Pac had been digging around intel on Diddy's behind-the-scenes activities, including the possible mistreatment of Usher, who was still a teenager, by Diddy. As soon as Pac walked right into the lobby of Quad.
I don't know what to say. Because obviously you could say it's just a rumor. But I need to know facts if that's exactly what Tupac was. You know what I'm saying? That's wild. That's wild. Like, that is wild. Because think about it. How old was Usher in 1994? Let's figure this out. How old was Usher in 1994? He was 16 years old. Let's go.
Quad Studios that night, he was confronted by 3 armed men who tried to rob him. Pac fought and struggled with their assailants who tried to grab one of their...
Again, the army fatigues that these guys are wearing. And like King Tut was allegedly known as where his crew was known for wearing army fatigues. So when you think about it, I know they're trying to say Dexter Isaac confirmed that he was the one that shot sorry, I can't say that word. He is the one that, you know what I mean, pulled the trigger. But it's like, at the end of the day, okay, what was you wearing? Are you gonna say, yeah, I was wearing the army fatigue? You can't even say that because this is information that's already out there. Do you know what I'm saying? But then it goes to the point of, okay, what did you have to gain by doing that? And if you did do that, then why did you do that? Not just the game, but like, why did you do that? Why did it take you this many years to confess? And then also on top of that, like, why is it like, who really is the person that organized this? That's what no one is really asking these questions. Who was the one that organized this? I'm watching, I'm reacting, and I have questions. That's all I'm doing. It's just a human thing.
Their guns, but the man shot Pac 5 times, pistol whipped him, and robbed him of over $40,000 worth of jewelry. And Pac survived the shooting, but blamed both Biggie and Puffy for the robbery, claiming that they betrayed him and set him up to be shot.
I have proved things that I can say that will back up my claim, but this is not for the world to know about.
Both Big and Diddy publicly denied.
And that's how you deal with it. It's like, this isn't for the world to know about. This is for, and this is, but it's, I hear it at the same time, because obviously now I'm reacting to this, this, that, and the third. But like, I hear it though. But by the world knowing about it, it can teach lessons, because you can learn lessons from afar. You know what I mean? This happened in the 90s, but there's certain lessons from these situations. If you look past, even like with the video I reacted to in regards to Napoleon listening to the audio from Big Stretch, like, you would know that, okay, it's about now, you have to be careful with what you tell your friends and who you hang around with. You know what I'm saying? You have to really be vigilant. But not just that. I say the number one thing you really need to do in your life, and I'm not saying that anyone who goes through what a victim of anything, I'm not saying they don't do this, by the way. I'm just saying in general, the number one thing you should do is put God first. That's it. Once you put God first and you pray to God to put people in your life that are for you, that's it. Because when you realize that, okay, you're like, okay, well, that person's for me. I could get, again, hindsight is 2020, because you could say, okay, in this situation, Tupac probably thought Biggie was for him as a friend, because he was helping him out and this, that, and the third, and obviously Puffy or Sean Combs, whatever his name is getting jealous, because clearly he was getting jealous. Do you know what I mean? Like, well, why are you helping out my artists? Do you know what I mean? You're helping out my artists. I'm here to, I don't say that, but I'm here to rob my artists. Don't make him smart to the point that he no longer wants to do business with me. That's what I think Sean Combs was afraid of. And then plus, we now know he was a federal informant. So there's levels to this situation. We just don't even know what the real truth is. But let's keep watching.
Denied Pac's accusations, but Tupac did not let up. After inking a new record deal with Death Row, Tupac released his 1996 diss track Hit 'Em Up, and let's just say he was not playing around. Pac bragged.
And here's the thing, yeah, I promise you, I think Napoleon even said it. There's an even raw version to Hit 'Em Up. Even the interview with Angie Martinez is even more raw and explicit than Hit 'Em Up. So much so that Angie Martinez, she doesn't want to release it. In fact, I think she wants to release it, but I think she's getting paid off not to release it. You know what I mean? So who knows? But anyway, and I just find it very intriguing that people always seem to think Biggie didn't diss Tupac, or do you know what I mean? But he did, because he could have easily said, "Look, I made this song. It wasn't for you. It was." But here's the thing: it's like that song, "Who," you know what I mean? "Who blanks you," is a thing of that sounds wild, but like, who, you know what I mean? You know the name of the song, "Who Shot You." But like, I can't even say that word properly, can I? But that in itself, you can't even I'm trying to break this down properly so people can really understand what's clearly going on here. Tupac's, because of the timing of when it was released after Tupac got in that incident, right? Like, I don't know how many months after, but it was released after. The timing, you know what I mean? And you got to bear in mind that Tupac had his trial and then he ended up going to jail. So obviously he had time to think and realize certain situations, and then boom, once he out of jail, you know what I mean? And within a month, I think it's within a month of being out of jail, he hooked up with Faith Evans. And she's actually on that song. What's that song called? If I can remember the name of the song, you know what I mean? She's on that song. Why they call you, what's that song called? If you know, you know in it. But it's like, and then she's on that song. So it's like, I'm not saying it's true, I'm not saying it's not true, but Tupac ain't the type of the person that's gonna lie, is he? So you do the maths.
About sleeping with Biggie's wife, dissed Puffy, and declared himself a bad boy killer. And in another diss track, Against All Odds, released in November of 1996, Pac again zeroed in on Puffy's alleged involvement.
Yeah, if I was the one doing this documentary or whatever, I would save that part for later, because it's just a timeline of it. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously that's released in November 1996. Against All Odds, and Tupac fatal situation was in September 1996. So for timeline purposes, you know what I mean, there's certain things that you should try and draw out to the point you're just making a timeline of things to make it seem like, okay, yeah, this person is possibly involved. That's how I would have done it. You know what I mean? That's just me personally, but again, I respect the graft. I respect it. You took the time to do it, so let me respect it. But I see what he's trying to do.
In the shooting, claiming
Puffy getting robbed like a to hide that fact. He just he shouldn't have did, so we riding for that.
In 1995, Suge Knight, the CEO of Death Row, rolled up on his entourage of Mob Piru Bloods to a birthday party for the rapper-producer Jermaine Dupri. One of the gang members in Suge's entourage was his close friend and right-hand man, Big Jake. When Suge saw that Puffy was at Jermaine Dupri's party, he directly confronted him, leading to a fight. Suge and his Bloods were forced to leave the party, but gunshots suddenly started ringing out everywhere. Everyone ducked for cover and saw a gunman firing bullets into the air. As everyone was distracted, somebody walked up to Suge's associate Big Jake and shot him from behind. Eyewitnesses claim that the man who shot Big Jake was none other than Puffy's bodyguard, Wolf. While no charges were filed, the death of Big Jake seemed to
I don't know what to say about that situation. From behind, it's just coward. You're a coward. Furthermore, if you need those type of, you're a coward. Put your dukes up. You know what I mean?
to shake Death Row and Suge personally, making their beef with Puffy all the more serious. Pac's shootings and his accusations towards Puff Daddy and Biggie Smalls kicked off the East Coast-West Coast war, with Death Row Records on one side and back.
Okay, listen, I'm gonna put this out there. There's no such thing as an East Coast-West Coast war. In fact, this is probably I'm gonna throw it to another day because of time and everything. But even Tupac's cousin was explaining things. Do you know what I mean? I will have to, if you want to, do you know what I mean? Make sure you are subscribed so you're notified of when I go live, because I will do that on the next live that I do. I will react to that video so you can hear it himself, like to understand. No, it was either his cousin or maybe it was Tupac's dad. I can't remember which one. I think it was maybe both of them said it. Either way, I will find it, I'll react to it, so you can hear it for yourself. You know what I'm saying? I'll find the Pacifics ones. Let's go.
Bad boy on the other. But in Las Vegas on September 7th of 1996, the war went deeper and darker than anyone could have imagined.
We chose this life in the rainforest away from it all, and while it is so beautiful living so closely to nature, it can be isolating to live so remotely. in the
People can call Suge a lot of shit, but I don't think Suge would have put himself in that type of situation knowing that he's going to jail.
Tupac was in town for a Mike Tyson fight. After the match, he climbed into a black BMW driven by Suge Knight. Then a white Cadillac pulled up alongside the car and a gunman started shooting from the backseat. Suge Knight was struck once in the head while Pac was shot 4 times. Suge and Pac were rushed to the hospital, and while Suge would recover from his injuries, Pac remained on life support before passing away 6 days later. For years, the murder of Tupac Shakur remained unsolved.
And it's still eerie that Tupac's album, with the next album after that, was called it was under the pseudonym Machiavelli, and the album was called The Don Illuminati, The 7-Day Theory. Like, it's so eerie, like, bruv. But anyway, like, yeah. Again, I wouldn't go as far and say this was because of the East Coast, West Coast war or whatever. And I think, here's the thing. You're saying, obviously the headline is every clue linking Diddy to Tupac and Biggie's, you know what I mean, unaliving. But the thing is, you have to understand, for timeline purposes, you've got to put things into perspective. There's a lot of people, if you're talking a full-on East Coast, West Coast beef, think about it. The Outlaws, yeah? The Outlaws are from New Jersey. That is East Coast. So it doesn't make sense for it to be West Coast versus East Coast. It doesn't make sense. Like, it just doesn't even make sense. And then, at the same time, even though you've got that, you still have Ice Cube from the West Coast, by the way, yeah? Working with the East Coast in the 90s as well. So technically, and then you still had, what's his name? Is it Corrupt? Get me? At that time, he was with Foxy Brown. So those who want to say that, oh, Foxy Brown was with Jay-Z. Really? Are you all right? Don't disrespect Corrupt like that. Get me? Let's go.
A ton of people naturally suspected that Biggie and Puffy might have been involved, but both denied any involvement. Faith Evans, Biggie's wife, claims that Big called her the night of Tupac's death in tears. But despite all the rumors,
Yeah, whatever she says, I don't believe any word that comes out of her mouth. I'll be real with you. I'll be real with you.
Vegas PD made very little progress in their investigation, claiming that witnesses wouldn't talk to them. But on September 27th of 2023,
witnesses wouldn't talk to them. This is a lie. Witnesses did talk to them. One witness that talked, yeah? One of the witnesses that talked was Tupac's bodyguard, what's his name? Frank Alexander. He talked. Another witness that talked was Gaddafi, yeah? Not obviously General Gaddafi or Colonel Gaddafi from Libya. I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about, you know what I mean? Gaddafi from the Outlaws. He was one of the key witnesses. And I think within 2 to 3 months, he was unalived. And they want to try to say it was on a situation like it was over like narcotics situation or whatever, and I don't know, one of Napoleon's cousins was involved or something of that. I can't remember the full story in regards to that, but when you think about it, that is a lie. It has to be a lie. You cannot tell me, because think about it, just think logically. If someone is a witness to a crime, they can solve that. They can help the investigation of that crime be solved. In fact, furthermore, most crimes, from what I understand, I could be completely wrong here, most crimes, in fact, what's it that 50 Cent says? I'm gonna find it. 50 Cent says something. He says, these ain't that. The dudes ain't that good. These ninjas is ratting. They tell them what's going on. That's how they know what's happening. Not to say that Gaddafi is ratting, because technically his boy that's got, not his boy, yeah, his friend just got, you know what I mean, in a fatal situation. And if he's saying, this is what I saw this particular hand or this color or what, not this color, I don't know what color, but but Frank Alexander even said it. You know what I mean? And I think Reggie Wright Jr., listen, I'm telling you, there's something else I'm going to react to. So, listen. Make sure you stay subscribed because we're going to get to the bottom of this. For real, for real. Let's go.
7 years later, the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department arrested Duane Keffe D Davis, a Southside Crip, and charged him with Tupac's murder. But the wildest part about all this is Keffe D had been publicly vocal about his connection to Tupac's shooting for years. In his memoir, Compton Street Legend, Keffe D describes in detail the night of Pac's murder. And what's even wilder is that he claims Diddy himself ordered the hit on Tupac and promised to pay out $1 million for the assassination of not only Pac, but also Suge Knight. In his book, Keffe D describes the meeting and says that Puffy was full of fear when he ordered the hit on Pac. In court papers filed for Keffe D's upcoming trial, prosecutors included a transcript from a 2009 recording conducted by undercover police. In the transcript, an undercover...
You see, look, this is what I'm going to mention as well. This is like... How do I put it? This whole situation is illegal. Because he also put it in... It's not even as undercover. It's not undercover. It's not, well, maybe it is undercover from what they're showing, but I could be wrong. But Greg Caden, yeah. All right, let me break it down from what I know. Yeah, from what I know. Greg Caden was a police from the LAPD. And because he was on the LAPD, he was researching and doing an investigation in regards to the situation with Biggie. Because at the time, of this investigation, what had happened was Biggie's mom, she was the one that had a hunch and had the feeling that the LAPD were negligent and partly responsible for the unaliving of her son. So she decided to sue the LAPD for $400 million. Do you know what that would have done to the LAPD and the justice system in America as a whole had she won that case? Like, do you know what that would have done? Obviously, that wouldn't bring back her son. We know that. But we know that it would open a whole can of worms. And you got to remember, this was the 90s, yeah? Think about it. The LAPD was already corrupt in the 90s. They already had that situation with the whole, like the beating of Rod. No, I didn't get his name correct. I want to get his name correct. I don't want to, you know what I mean? Yeah, Rodney King. You know what I mean? They already had that situation. So think about, I'm just saying. So, for further timeline purposes, in regards to this, I feel like Craig Caden was put out there to try and stifle that whole situation so that LAPD could actually win that case, which they actually won, by the way. And so now when you put that into perspective, it's a case of, okay, we know you have links to Sean Combs. So now, if you didn't, you know what I mean? It's like this, I don't explain it. He basically put words into Keffe D's mouth and how he arrested him as well. Let's think about how he arrested him. He planted evidence for him to arrest Keffe D, to be able to make him confess to a crime. But instead of confessing to the Biggie crime, he, in a way, kind of confessed to the Tupac crime. But at the same time, he didn't confess to the Tupac crime. He more or less put Diddy in that situation, but he didn't just put Diddy in that situation. Like, there's so many holes to this story. You need to, you really got to pay attention. It's deep.
Undercover officer asked Keffe D point blank if Sean Combs played a role in Tupac's assassination. Keffe D claimed that Diddy was afraid of Suge Knight and allegedly said, "I would give anything for that dude's head." While Keffe D insists that his nephew, another Southside Crip named Orlando Baby Lane Anderson, was the actual trigger man in the shooting, he also suggested that Diddy paid another associate, Eric Von Zip Martin, money for the contract on Pac. Keffe D said that he tried to collect the money from Puffy, but that he avoided him and it was never paid for the hit on Pac. Keffe even said,
"I was on top of the world till I met your motherfucker ass, dude. It's wrong, dude."
And honestly, it sounds like there's a lot of people out there that agree with that statement. In October of
And the thing is, it's not like, I think even Keffe D pleaded not guilty to the situation as well. So we don't know, like, and you got to think about where's the trail to the money. Like, there's so many holes to the story.
October of 2024, a woman named Ashley Parham filed a lawsuit where she claimed that Diddy sexually assaulted her in retaliation after she accused him of being involved in Tupac's death. According to the lawsuit, she told Diddy over a FaceTime call that she suspected him of being behind Pac's shooting, and Diddy vowed that she would pay for her comment. She then says a friend of hers who was an associate of Diddy set her up to be confronted by Puffy, who allegedly held a knife up to her face and threatened to give her a Glasgow smile. For the record, a Glasgow smile is when someone carves up the corners of your mouth to give you a permanent smile.
It's funny now, because in the UK, that's known as a Chelsea smile. I shouldn't say that's funny, but in the UK, it's known as a Chelsea smile, especially if you're from London. Because I remember, as when I was a child, I remember when people found out I was like, people found out I was a Chelsea fan, a Chelsea Football Club fan, they would, do you know what I mean? They would make passing remarks in regards to the Chelsea smile or whatever. And they did it, and I know they mentioned something about that. I think someone else explained it to me. I don't know who explained it to me. But yeah, that's what that is from what I know. But anyway, let's go.
Almost like the Joker. And as we've seen from Diddy's unhinged Halloween videos, he is literally obsessed with the Joker. And if that wasn't shocking enough, Parham claimed in her lawsuit that Diddy's chief of staff, Christina Karam, was there. Christina Karam, aka KK, had been described by Diddy himself as his right hand and claims that he wouldn't be able to function without her. But she's also been called Diddy's manipulator-in-chief and was previously named as the director of the Combs enterprise. According to the lawsuit, Karam told Diddy to not cut Ashley Parham's face because they could sell her to potential clients. Parham then says that Diddy, Karam, and other Diddy associates violently assaulted her, and that Diddy heavily implied that he's gotten away with more heinous crimes before. While there hasn't been any concrete evidence or charges tying Diddy to Tupac's murder.
And this is the thing, when people feel like they've gotten away with certain things for such a long time, they feel like they can get away with it. Get away with something else, so they end up doing something even more wild or even more to think that they can get away with it. But the reality of life is you will never be able to get away with anything. Yeah, this is why you need to have a clean heart, clean mind, live clean, do the best you can. Yeah, I'm not saying everyone is like perfect or anything like that, but it's like you have to learn how to react in a you've got to react properly in a sense. Do you see what I'm going to say? Like, it's hard to explain into words, but you can't act like you. This is why Diddy, or Sean Combs, should I say, felt like he, if he got bail, he'll be all right. You know what I mean? Like, because he's able to get out of situations, and not this time. So the trial, I want to see exactly what's going to happen in the trial. I want to see what happens. I'm not going to predict what happens because I don't want to predict. I just want to see things exactly for what the timeline is. Let's go.
This new info was compelling enough that Tupac's family hired a lawyer on October 4th of 2024 to investigate these allegations further.
And that lawyer happens to be Alex Spiro. And that, because I was confused here when I saw that name, and also I knew that name is also associated to Jay-Z as well. And I'm like, wait a minute, but Jay-Z had an issue with Tupac in the 90s as well, but obviously it wasn't like a more of a big thing, or big. It wasn't as, do you know what I mean? Because Jay-Z wasn't that big in the 90s either way. But like, I do think when Jay-Z's name was mentioned in that it was mentioned in that album, the 7 Day Theory, that did kind of help boost him. I won't lie to you, let's be real. But anyway, obviously him for his own credit, doing his own thing, that does also help. But I feel like so I'm gonna say, yeah, this is why if anyone wants to say, yeah, but Diddy and Jay-Z are friends, how can you say they're not friends? Well, if your lawyer is Alex Spiro and you're investigating, like, you need to understand there are different levels to this situation. I did also go back to that investigation in regards to Jay-Z as well, which is another story. But yeah, we're gonna have to like with the Jay-Z one, we're gonna start from more or less, I say from the beginning in a sense, so we can get a clear understanding of what really is going on. You know what I mean? Because you can have your biases and be like, I feel like Jay-Z did do it because this. No, let's just deal with the facts. You know what I mean? Let's just deal with the facts. This is what I'm trying to say even with this documentary or whatever, or this information piece together. This is why I'm glad I'm reacting to it, because people need to understand there's certain things that are missing and certain things that are not missing, but the timeline has to sound right. You get it? Everything for me needs to make sense for you to really understand what really is going on, and you know what I mean. So if if Jay-Z's lawyer is Alex Spiro, and Alex Spiro is now the lawyer for Tupac's family to investigate Diddy's link to Tupac's, then it is what it is. Do you know what I mean? They are not friends.
But what about the murder of Biggie, which happened just 6 months after Tupac was shot in Las Vegas?
And Biggie was like, yo, Murray, I got shows in London. Do you think I should stay here or leave? I said, Big, you know they do not like you out here. Leave.
On March 8th of 1997, Biggie Smalls and Puffy were in attendance at a Soul Train Awards after party in LA. Biggie and Diddy being in LA was especially significant because this was at the height of the East Coast West Coast beef, and they were practically in enemies.
Again, there's no East Coast and West Coast beef, but I will say this, because think about it, if there was an East Coast and West Coast beef, I'm telling you, they wouldn't have been allowed in the venue, let alone. You know what I'm saying? When there's beef, there's actual beef. Do you know what I mean? So don't get that twisted. I think what it is, you have to also remember, again, and this is why I say, if they were, like, you have to think, I say even laugh, but like, sometimes you got to really think to yourself, what's beef? In the words of Biggie, what's beef? You know what I mean? Like, think, if it was genuine beef, East Coast versus West Coast, the East Coast in general, not just Sean Combs, not just Christopher Wallace, everyone from the East Coast, not just in the rap game or hip hop culture, everyone from the East Coast. Everyone from the East Coast wouldn't be able to step foot in the West Coast. And this is why people don't like the West Coast. Not people, but you know what I'm trying to say. You know, they say where some people don't have love for the West Coast. Get me? For West Coast, like, because they always feel like, I don't know, man. Like, the East Coast always, because I feel like they always, do you know what? I think there's another added part to it. I feel like they feel like the West Coast have something to do with the demise, you know, the unaliving of Biggie. That's probably adds to it, I think. And I could be wrong here, but think about it. Just think about it, because I think, and I could be wrong, once it's out there that, let's say Sean Combs is involved, the energy will shift. And I'm talking about the energy of that, that energy where the East Coast don't have, you know what I mean? But then again, the East Coast are like, they're like, what's the word I'm looking for? They're like narcissists. You know what I'm saying? It's all about them. It's their world. Everything revolves around them. But now the South are taking over. What we're going to say? Get me? Now you're trying to sound like the South. At one point, it was about the West Coast. Do you know what I mean? And I think for the next 2 to 3 years, and I could be wrong again, it's going to be all about that West Coast sound. And then it's going to get back to the East Coast. But I could be wrong.
Territory. Lil Cease, Diddy's protege, says that they got advice from both the streets and industry associates that it was a bad idea for the Bad Boy team to be out in LA, but Diddy insisted that they show face. Kirk Burroughs, the former president of Bad Boy, verified that Biggie was actually scheduled to travel to London on that very same day for a press event that would have seen him meet up with a panel of international journalists. This press conference would have been a major boost to Biggie's career since it would have helped platform him on a global level. Not only
Facts. That's actual facts. That's actual facts. And he has mentioned it on, ironically, the platform I was reacting to when Napoleon was talking about when he listened to the audio from Big Stretch, that same platform, Kirk Burroughs was also on. So, and he did mention it was Sean Combs' idea. It was Sean Combs' idea that he goes to LA. Now, why would you insist someone goes somewhere? And it's all right, fair enough, it's your artist. But sometimes if someone is scared, it's so anyway. Like for me, I just feel like it's 6 months. You're in LA. I think you should. The tensions are going to be there. They're going to be there. Even though I said there's no East Coast West Coast beef, there's still going to be tensions because 6 months before, look what happened to Tupac. And he's very revered. So if someone's revered like that, it doesn't take rocket science for someone to just spaz out. I'm not saying it's right, you know what I mean? But sometimes, you know what I mean? But obviously I'm not saying that would have happened. Again, I genuinely feel like, Sean Combs is linked to Biggie's situation as well. Just the two situations seem similar because look who's benefited. Because the whole Tupac situation, let's forget about the timeline. When that happened, Suge Knight ended up in jail anyway, so how could he benefit? You know what I mean? And the label was going downhill as well because when you think about it, you can release posthumous albums or whatever, but still, whatever, that can only sustain for so long. And then you have the situation with, I'm not saying that Tupac would sell because he was selling enormous amounts, but then you have someone like, I forgot his name now. It's just crazy, man. Yeah, and the Snoop Dogg, he went over to Master P's label. Look at the timeline of it. Who really benefited? Diddy obviously has benefited. He wanted to be in the cover of I forgot what magazine it was. It was meant to be Biggie's face to be on that cover. I think they're gonna mention this. If they don't, then they don't. But anyway.
Not only would this have elevated Biggie's star status, but it also would have been good for Bad Boy Records and Diddy himself. But at the very last minute, Diddy called Kirk Burroughs and told him that Biggie would be remaining in LA and to cancel the London press tour even though a lot of money had already been spent on the event. What's even stranger is that Diddy didn't just want Biggie to attend the award show, he stressed it was very important that Biggie showed up for the after party. Biggie was still recovering from a car accident, which meant he either needed a wheelchair or a cane to move around. Despite all that, Diddy pulled the boss card and forced Biggie to come to LA and scrap his London press junket. After midnight, Biggie and Diddy left the after party and got into 2 different vehicles. As Biggie's truck stopped at a red light,
that's how you know he doesn't really care about his artist's health. Think about it. The guy's still recovering from a injury, and you're telling him that he needs to be moving about. Because even if it's a thing of, okay, you've got this injury, I think we should cancel this press junket in London. Just stay back in New York. Just recover. You know, write some lyrics. Recover. You know what I mean? And we just come back bigger, stronger, whatever. Like, and you know what I mean? Like, because he still had a great year. Do you know what I mean? He still had a great year. But then again, I guess also, I believe they were saying they were filming some parts of the music video in LA as well. So I could be wrong, but I think that was one of the reasons as well. But okay, what do I know?
Light, a black Chevy Impala pulled up alongside it, and the driver rolled down the window and fired at Biggie, shooting him 4 times. From there, Biggie's team rushed him to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. He was only 24 years old. In the aftermath of Biggie's assassination, rumors swirled over who was responsible. But in recent years, more and more information has trickled out that Diddy may have been more responsible than we realized. Reports also emerged that Biggie was actively looking to leave Bad Boy Records before he was shot, and that Diddy was...
They said this with Tupac as well. Tupac was going to leave DR Records because of, do you know what I mean? First of all, he was never really initially signed to DR Records. He was still signed to Interscope. You get it? But Interscope was the umbrella company of DR Records anyway. You start to say? I'm saying DR Record like a Dominican Republic and that. But you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. But yeah, obviously D-Roll Records. Like, obviously I can't, that sounds crazy. That's why I say DR. But, like, I feel like when you think about it, it's like, there's no justification for anything. I think people need to understand that. Despite how, of what, or who benefited, there's no justification to why, especially an incident like this or these incidents, why they happen. There's no justification. I don't care who you are. Stop trying to justify it and stop trying to say it was because of this, it was because of that. Nah, shut up. It wasn't because of that. Just to say these are the facts. If it is a fact that Biggie was trying to leave, that's a fact. All right, cool, whatever. It was a fact that Tupac was trying to leave. Cool, that's a fact. Leave it at that. But don't try and push it and say that was a fact based on, you know what I mean? That's the reason why. There's no justification. Because if you believe that, then you're sick in the head and you need locking up. Anyway, let's keep it moving.
Diddy was fighting Biggie's lawyers to retain control of Biggie's publishing rights. After Biggie's death in 1997, Rolling Stone magazines even approached Diddy, offering a...
See, this is what I'm going to say. I'm glad he's mentioning it. This is what I was going to say. I'm glad he is mentioning it. Let's rewind it for a bit, because this is very key here. Because let me just ask you this question. You can either answer the comments below or in the live chat. If, obviously, God forbid, but like, you're working with someone, let's say you're the label head, you're working with someone, and they have to be your main artist, and they're the main artist that, you know, making the most money for the label or whatever. And then they go through an unfortunate situation where, unfortunately, they become unalive, unfortunately. And then a magazine decides to pay tribute to that artist. And instead, what would you want to do? Like, leave your answer in the comment section below. What would you want to do? I'm just asking, before we move on, like, what would you want to do? Just out of the type of person you are. Do you know what I mean? Let me know what you would want to do. Because I know personally, like I said, God forbid, but like, I would want to pay tribute in the right way. I'm not going to make it all about me. Are you crazy? Because it's not about me. I'm going to make it about that person. I'm going to try and make, like, you know what I mean? Show proper tribute in the best way possible. You see the same way I reacted to Delroy's son by Conan. The way he paid tribute to his dad. You know what I mean? The way he's got a chain of his dad on him, the way he's got, like he went to the graveside of his dad, and do you know what I mean? The way he properly paid tribute with the lyrics as well, like you can hear the sincerity. I mean, obviously that's his son, that's a different scenario, but you hear what I'm trying to say. There's different ways, and obviously he mentioned that in the restaurant they have in Crepes and Cones, he put like a mural or a picture of his dad on the actual, you know what I mean, in the restaurant. So when you think about it, like you don't, like, let me know what you do. That's, you know what I mean? Like, anyway, let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving.
Looking to leave Bad Boy Records before he was shot, and that Diddy was fighting Biggie's lawyers to retain control of Biggie's publishing rights. After Biggie's death in 1997, Rolling Stone magazines even approached Diddy, offering a cover opportunity. Kirk Burroughs advocated for the team to put Biggie on the cover as a posthumous tribute to Bad Boy's flagship artist. According to an investigation released by Rolling Stone, Diddy refused, saying, "No, he's dead. I need to be on the cover of Rolling Stone." Not only did Rolling Stone put Diddy on the cover, but he used Biggie's death to promote his debut solo album, No Way Out. In May of 19...
Let's go back to that. Let's go back to that.
Artists. According to an investigation released by Rolling Stone, Diddy
Let me make it. Tell Sean, let me make it Biggie. You still have a chance for a cover in the future. Burroughs recalls he likes no. He's like, no. I'm putting out Combs' debut album, No Way Out, in July. I need to be on a Rolling Stone. I need to be on the Rolling Stone cover.
refused, saying, "No, he's dead. I need to be on the cover of Rolling Stone." Not only did Rolling Stone...
That's what I'm gonna cut. So, the king of hip hop. That's the cover, and it says the king of hip hop, and then you got the name here, Puff. You know what I'm saying? The haunted life, and okay, I don't know who Jeff Buckley is, no disrespect, but anyway, on the making of No Way Out, he's rival with Tupac Shakur, and the last days of the Notorious. See, this is what's so insane, yeah. This really should be here. You know what I mean? The Notorious, the king of hip hop, the Notorious B.I.G, because some people call him the king. Cool. You understand it? We respect it. Because you could have said the last days of the king of hip hop, but then also some people say Tupac is the king as well, which that's still correct. So this, from how I'm looking at this magazine cover, it looks as though Diddy is trying to say, well, his name there. I'm not even gonna say that name because it just is a super wide. But it looks like, for me, on a personal vibe, not personal vibe, but from what I understand, from my perspective, it looks like he's trying to say he's the king of hip hop. That's what that looks like.
Stone put Diddy on the cover, but he used Biggie's death to promote his debut solo album, No Way Out. In May of 1997, just 2 months after the murder, Diddy released I'll Be Missing You, a tribute song to Biggie that featured the Notorious B.I.G's estranged wife, Faith Evans. The song was a record-shattering success. It spent 11 weeks at the top of the Billboard Hot 100, won a Grammy for the best rap performance by a duo or group, and made history as one of the best-selling singles ever. Diddy's big solo album, No Way Out, was released later that summer and was another colossal victory for Bad Boy. It debuted at #1, selling over 500,000 copies in its first week, and even went 7 times platinum. Even though Biggie had long been seen as Bad Boy's most important artist, Diddy quickly stepped into his friend's throne just months after he was killed. Diddy himself even admitted that he directly benefited from Biggie's demise. In a 1999 interview with...
The fact that he can admit that, that's what I'm saying. Your guilty conscience is going to kick in some way, somehow, and somehow you're going to hear people confess things that they've done, and even though they feel like they've gotten away with it, they're going to end up saying it in a way that you think like, wait, did he just say that? or did she just say that? Like, if you pay attention to people, if you let someone talk long enough, you're going to hear what their thoughts are. Genuinely. If you let them talk long enough, I'm telling you. Anyway.
With Rolling Stone, Diddy claimed, "I think Biggie's passing added to the fame," and then claimed that at least 2 million copies of No Way Out sales were due to Biggie's death. It's almost as if Diddy used Biggie's shooting as a launch pad to go from record producer to superstar rapper in a matter of weeks. People are still digging up the truth about Diddy, but it looks like telling the truth comes with a huge price.
I don't know what you're talking about.
In recent years, strange things have been happening to some of the people who have known Diddy the longest. Kim Porter, the mother of 3 of Diddy's children, was reportedly working on a memoir about her life and relationship with Puffy. And sources say that Kim was not being shy about her book project. Rumors surfaced that Kim confronted Diddy's former mentor Andre Harrell over lunch, reportedly over videos she recorded of Andre being intimate with Diddy. Sources even claim that he asked Andre to
Huh? What? Huh? Turn on the subtitles, because I know I heard something.
the truth comes with a huge price.
I don't know what you're talking about.
In recent years, strange things have been happening to some of the people who have known Diddy the longest. Kim Porter, the mother of 3 of Diddy's children, was reportedly working on a memoir about her life and relationship with Puffy. And sources say that Kim was not being shy about her book project. Rumors surfaced that Kim confronted Diddy's former mentor Andre Harrell over lunch, reportedly over videos she recorded of Andre being intimate with Diddy. Sources even claim that he asked Andre to
It's not too far-fetched to believe either. Anyway.
to come clean about his relationship with Diddy. According to Mark Curry, a former Bad Boy artist, Diddy was conducting around-the-clock surveillance on Kim, including tapping her phone. If Kim was working on a scandalous
mentioned something like that as well.
tell-all, it would be completely believable that Diddy would know about it. But on November 15th of 2018, Kim Porter shockingly passed away at the age of 47. The autopsy reports claimed that Kim passed due to pneumonia, but she had no pre-existing condition.
I was confused. No, pneumonia at that young age. I'm like, hey, yo. I mean, I don't know her personally, but it's like, you know when someone tells you, nah, for some reason I believe that's wrong. And I could be wrong, but I feel like that was wrong. I feel like that, and I didn't want to be the one to say that's wrong, or like I didn't want to be that person. I'll be real with you, but I just thought, let me just let it be in it. You know what I mean? I'm not the coroner. I don't do the coroner's report. I don't do none of that. Do you know what I mean? You can go with your instincts and feel whatever you feel, but you know what I'm saying? Like what? You know what I mean? You know when you just feel there's something strange in the neighborhood and you can't call the ghost, but I'm gonna do that.
Even though Kim had substantial resources and had been in a relationship with one of the biggest moguls in music, she was never hospitalized for her so-called illness. Instead, she was just pronounced dead. Jaguar Wright, Diddy's former assistant, even made claims that Kim Porter's
Jaguar Wright, former assistant to... I'm not gonna lie, we can't... listen, we can't take... At this moment, no disrespect to Jaguar Wright, but until she confronts her situation with, you know, what she's done, then I can't take her serious. I'm not sorry. Because she's saying she would, I don't know. I don't know the time this was recorded. I don't know where they got this information to say that she is Diddy's former assistant. Because why would she be Diddy's former assistant? With the powerful vocals that she has, why would she be Diddy's former assistant? I don't get it. That's just me. I'm just thinking. And you think, okay, a career to be where it is, but something happened in their life that caused a trauma. This is what I think and what I'm seeing. Because I remember there was a video on Instagram. It was on Instagram at one point, I believe. But if I can react to it, if you see my reaction to her with Orlando Brown as well, like he asked her something and she had to whisper the answer to him, and he was spooked to the point where he's like, "Oh, let's just end this interview or this thing. Let's end it." So I don't know. I'm not trying to downplay her mental health or anything like that, or downplay anything that she's possibly experienced. I'm just being very cautious of where I hear information from. This is why when I react to things like this, and if there's any information I do know, I will share it. Yeah, that's as simple as I'm going to get. But I will also give life lessons in the process if I can. Anyway.
His toxicology report showed signs of poisoning. She even says that Diddy had a custom-made casket.
But then, okay, when was she? Okay, this is the question I should ask, really and truly, to the saying. I should take it serious. I should say, when was Jagger Wright Diddy's assistant? And can she prove it? From what year to what year? That's all I want to know. From what year to what year? What day? Do you know what I mean? And I would like to know why she ended up being his assistant. Did she think that would help boost her career? Do you know what I mean? Well,
for her bought and picked out 3 weeks before Kim Porter died. Could Kim have been dosed with a secret toxin that made it look like she passed from pneumonia? Just recently, a 59-page memoir purportedly written by Kim Porter was released and became the top-selling book on Amazon.
And then it was pulled from Amazon. Because the name Jamal T. Woodward is not an actual name of a person. It's a fictional person. All right? So we're not doing that. Like, let's be real here.
On Amazon. A man named Chris Todd claims that Kim Porter gave him the book via a flash drive before she passed away. However, pretty much everyone Kim was close to.
Exactly. Everyone was saying she didn't write that book. And the funny thing is, it's like, why would she give him that book, that flash drive? Why? And then why would you use your name? Not even use your name, use someone else's name. Like, why don't you just say, this is, do you know what I mean? Like, I really want him to prove that she gave him the flash drive. I want him to prove it. Prove it. Just prove it. How did she give it to you? When did she give it to you? And why did she give it to you? Out of all people, why did she give it to you? Because I'm assuming if she was going to give anyone any flash drive, she was going to give it to Kimora Lee Simmons. You know what I mean? If anyone was going to get a flash drive, if anyone was going to get a backup flash drive, it would be Kimora Lee Simmons. Anyone. Because that's her bestie, innit? But anyway, I could be wrong.
From her children to her longtime friends have claimed the book was fabricated and pointed out numerous factual errors. Amazon even took action by removing the book from their website. But Kim isn't the only confidant who passed away unexpectedly. Andre Harrell, the man Diddy credits with giving him a shot at the music business in the first place, died on May 7th of 2020 after reportedly suffering from heart problems. Andre was Diddy's longtime mentor and role model, and he passed away just a year and a half after Kim Porter. One of the few remaining people who would know the true details behind Diddy and Andre Harrell's relationship would be Al B. Sure, one of the founding members of Uptown Records. Al B. Sure is also the father of another one of Kim Porter's children, which just goes to show how weirdly mixed up all these guys were in each other's business in the first place, but whatever. Regardless, Al B. Sure came...
What you're not saying is how manipulative Sean Combs was to be able to get Kim Porter. That's what he's not saying. That's what he's not saying. But then it gets to the point of, I'll be sure, like, he's struggling to get his son to just stay away from the whole Diddy case. But it's difficult because it's like he's got to look after his siblings, isn't it? Knowing that he is the oldest, it's like he's got to look after his siblings. So it's a techie one still in it. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know that. This is what happens if you got kids, man. Like, think before you do things, man, because it really affects it. Like, it affects everyone. Yeah, like I'm saying, yeah, it affects the kids, but it also affects other relatives, the unknown, the relatives that we don't see or hear of. Do you see what I'm trying to say? Like, I think people need to think. Like, it generally affects other people. That's just my take on it. Like, think before you do certain things. Like, and I get it. Some people you may think, okay, that person got away with it, so maybe I can get away with it. But nah, that's not how it goes. I'll give you an example in sports, for example, right? Just because someone's like tackled someone in, let's just say they slide tackle someone in the same way, or let's use another example. They pull someone's shirt, right? In the same place, in the same way, but different game. Let's say it's the same team playing. So you got, let's say for example, if it's Chelsea versus Liverpool, for a prime example, right? And then, for example, you have the referee, and let's say the Liverpool player fouls the Chelsea player inside the box where it's supposed to be a penalty, right? But the penalty is not given to Chelsea. Now, just because they got away with it, it doesn't mean that if Chelsea now, so if the Liverpool player now gets fouled by a Chelsea player, it doesn't mean that they will get away with it in terms of the penalty not being given. The penalty could still be given. That sometimes happens in matches, similar situation, or maybe in a different game. Do you see what I'm trying to say? And even in the same circumstances where that same player who fouled that player inside the box in a different game, maybe the following week or maybe in the midweek, they do the same foul, but the penalty is given and the yellow card is given or a red card is given whatever situation it is. Like, you gotta understand, just because you think you get away with it once doesn't mean you get away with it the second time. Or even if you get away with it the second time, doesn't mean you get away with it the third time. But maybe let's say you get away with it for the third time, doesn't mean you get away with it the fourth time. One day you eventually will not get away with it. That's just facts. Anyway.
Came close to death in July of 2022 when he fell into a mysterious coma for months. He ended up waking up from his coma in October of 2022, but no explanation was given for what caused the bizarre medical episode. On the other hand, his illness sounds a lot like what Jaguar Wright was talking about when it comes to undetectable poison, and I'll Be Sure himself implied that Diddy may have been involved. Just days after Diddy's Miami and LA homes were raided by agents from the Department of Homeland Security, I'll Be Sure said,
"And you really understand how I ended up in a coma. You're really going to need to call Homeland Security."
I'll Be Sure even announced a documentary and called for additional investigation into the untimely death of his former partner, Kim Porter. It looks like there's a pattern of people who knew Diddy back from the very beginning of his career falling ill in the same 6-year time span. But if we're being real, tell-all should be the least of Diddy's worries.
Unless there's a real twist and turn to the plot, I don't think he's coming out of jail.
Michael Rappaport. Alright, listen, Michael Rappaport, if you know, you know. Get me. Anyway.
Since Diddy was arrested this past September, numerous new lawsuits have been filed on behalf of his alleged victims. Tony Busby, a personal injury lawyer from Houston, Texas, announced that the floodgates have opened.
Did they just call him that in? Did they just call him that in this? Hey, yo, it is what it is, isn't it? personal injury lawyer. Stick to that, my G. That's all I'm saying. Stick to that, because you're gonna get found out. I'm not saying the victims that he's gathered, yeah, are all false in regards to Diddy. I'm not even saying that, because they could all 100% be true. But the fact that he tried to, like, again, I still want to react to it. I don't know what the full truth is, but my thing is, if the victim is now an adult, right? If the victim is now an adult and they've already come out and in the public and they were interviewed and there were holes in their story, already that case should be dismissed. I do not care what anyone says. That case should be dismissed. Do you see what I'm going to say? It should be dismissed, and that person has to go to jail for the amount of time that, if that person was guilty, then obviously they should go to jail for that amount of time. They also need to pay financial damages. Do you see what I'm trying to say? And they have to do like an apology tour via video, because I want them to remain in jail, to every company that person, the person they accuse, like, apologize to those companies, to the people that they work with or work for, because it is damaging to accuse someone of something heinous like that. It is damaging. This is why I said I want to make sure I look at things from the root beginning, figure out things, because I'm like, hey, yo, he's a personal injury lawyer. That's a different type of ball game when it comes to law. I'm not saying that he can't win a claim in terms of, certain things that his clients are accusing. All right, Diddy, that's different. Forget Diddy for a minute. Let's talk about Jay-Z. I'm not saying he's innocent. I'm not saying he's guilty. I'm just saying, if the facts remain that there are holes in the story, and she went, like, whose idea? This is my thing. If you're a victim, whose idea is it to flip and go on TV, on national TV, and be interviewed, even if it, like, you're seen as anonymous? That's not a good idea. It's just not a good idea. It's just not a good idea, especially for your safety. It's just not a good idea. I get they want to make sure that the client remains anonymous and unknown, but you can't go against a ghost. You know what I mean? Like, you just can't. So they have the identity of the accuser has to be revealed. Even if it's not revealed in the public, at least it has to be revealed in the court of law, so that person can get trialed, be on the stand, tell their story, and all the people that she's mentioned in that interview. I know you can't really take that interview serious now anymore, but you can't change the story now, because that's public record. It's different if it wasn't public record, it wasn't the story. We never heard that interview. It would be completely different. But now that's out there, you can't be believed. You just can't be believed. And if I'm not saying that Jay-Z is innocent. I'm not saying he's guilty. I'm just saying purely on the fact. But anyway, let's keep it moving, because I know some of you be like, why are you going on about Jay-Z? You get me? No, I'm not trying to. Let's just stick to the whole Diddy situation for now. Get me? And then when we talk about Jay-Z and the time it's right, we talk about Jay-Z. But I'm just going to say for a matter of fact, now that the fact that we're talking about Tony Busby, and they literally just said he's a personal injury lawyer.
Opened since Diddy's shocking indictment. Busby hosted a press conference where he said that he has over 120 alleged victims who have come forward claiming that they were assaulted by Sean Combs. At the same time, Tony Busby mentioned that his
I'm about to say his hairstyle looks like them snake oil salesman. I'm not even trying to joke on him, man. Like, no Diddy yet. I'm not even trying to make jokes. But he does look like one of those people, innit? You know what I'm saying? I know some people could crack joke about me. That's fine. I don't care. But he does look like a snake oil skin. What's it? An oil snake salesman or whatever. You know what I'm talking about. I said it right the first time.
The staff was carefully vetting each and every one of Diddy's new accusers to make sure they could verify all.
Carefully vetting, see? Carefully vetting, yet you got this one wrong. Because the person was also linked to Diddy's situation, but that person's name, other person, wasn't, like, basically Jay-Z's name wasn't also attached to that claim. So it's not attached to the claim in the first place. Why are you adding it now? You see what I'm trying to say? Because even in, I think it's the same press conference, he did say that there's names out there that people, they're publicly known and they're going to be known in the future. We're going to name names in the future or whatever. Guess he named one. Who's next?
All the facts. While the cases are still being worked on, the first batch of 6 lawsuits were filed on October 15th and paint an even more disturbing pattern when it comes to Diddy's behavior over the years. One accusation goes back to 1995 and alleges that Diddy assaulted a woman during a promotional party for a Notorious B.I.G. music video. Another lawsuit claims that a representative for Echo, a clothing...
Hold on. This is sickening to my stomach, because I get that you want justice, but Biggie is no longer physically alive, so he can't defend his name of what he's been accused of. That's what I'm trying to say. Even when Tupac was alive, he was accused of what he was accused of, and he protested his innocence, but he still went to jail. Do you get it? Now, the issue becomes, I'm not saying that Biggie's innocent, nor am I saying he's guilty. I'm just saying that sometimes, like, what do you want? That's like, because for me, it's like, if that person is now unalive or whatever, I'm not saying that's justice or anything, but I wouldn't want to bring it up again and rehash it up and relive it, because that's trauma. But obviously, I can't tell how a victim should act or react to what they experienced, especially years ago. I can't say that, but I will say, like, if the person is no longer physically alive, I do think that it's towing the... Try and seek the victim if you can. Like, if you're a genuine victim, and this is all the victims that are out there. I'm just being honest here. I'm not trying to, because I want to be careful with what I'm trying to say. I want to give you the encouragement. First, if you can, seek as much therapy as you can, and then once you, obviously, whether you're still in the process of going through therapy, then seek, not just first seek criminal lawsuit and then the civil lawsuit, because then the civil lawsuit will pay for your lawyer fees, but then also it will pay for your therapy as well. Do you see what I'm trying to say? That's how I believe it should be done. And I could be completely wrong, and I'm fine with being wrong. But it sickens me to my stomach that when someone's no longer physically alive, they're being accused of something. If there's video evidence, not cool, fair enough. But it's like, do you want to relive that trauma? I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Clothing brand that was a rival to Diddy's own fashion line, Sean John, was violently attacked and sexually assaulted by Diddy in a Macy's stockroom in 2008. Tony Busby has even claimed that powerful people will be exposed in these upcoming lawsuits.
See?
Diddy's lawyers have tried to destroy...
You see? And they mentioned Jay-Z, so there you go.
Tony Busby's credibility, claiming that his press conference and victim hotline is a media circus, but Busby rejected those accusations and said, "I want people who have been scarred to know that they're not alone." There's also been numerous reports surfacing about Diddy's new life behind bars. After spending decades promoting a lavish lifestyle, Diddy's residency at New York's Notorious MDC Brooklyn jail has to be a major shakeup. Numerous news reports reported that Diddy was paranoid and refusing to eat while being locked up, reportedly out of fear of being poisoned.
Why? Because he's poisoned other people. You see what I'm saying? That's that paranoia. because you will think that you're also going to be poisoned.
Being a former inmate at MDC, claimed that he had a source inside the jail saying that Diddy was afraid for his life.
Imagine if someone paid someone off on the inside to actually poison his food, give him a heart attack, and he dies. And no one would really think anything of it.
Come to think of it, that sounds a lot like what happened to Diddy's mentor, Andre Harrell. Damn. Despite Puffy's mounting legal trouble, he still made headlines when he made a return to Instagram to celebrate his daughter's 2nd birthday. But the most important news is that a judge in Diddy's case has finally set a date for the trial, May 5th of 2025. So expect us to learn way more about the diddler closer to May 5th. We're really seeing hip-hop's darkest secrets come to light in real time.
Listen, I won't even go as far as say it's hip-hop's darkest secrets. That's a long stretch. You know what I'm saying? That is a stretch. I won't even go as far as say that. It's more of we're seeing what we're seeing. Let me see something real quick. What we're seeing is what we're basically seeing. How do I put this into short words? All we're seeing is we're seeing how people can be, basically. Or I won't say people, but you can see how some people are behind the scenes of, for example, the hip hop. You can't say hip hop culture, but like, let's say, just stick it to this one individual. We're seeing the darkest secrets of what's happening with Sean Combs, basically. That's how it should be done. Because it's got nothing to do with hip hop. It's just the fact that he's closely associated with hip hop because of his introduction to us. We know him because of hip hop culture. Do you see what I'm trying to say? There's so much things that could have been said that wasn't said. But yeah, let's see what the comments are saying. This was posted like 3 weeks ago as well. The industry is about to blow up. We're living in crazy times. This is okay. Let someone else put correction. Biggie didn't invite Tupac to Quest Studio. Jimi Hendrix invited him. Correction. It was Sean. It was little Sean that invited him. See? Let's see what the comments are saying. You see? Cat. Tupac said he was there to do a song with Little Sean, and Biggie and Little Steve's were doing. Was the lookout for the play. I don't think Little Sean was the lookout for the play. I do think there was a genuine studio session for Biggie. But yeah, Park wasn't invited. He was made to think he was getting paid for doing the Little Sean record. Like I said before, I told you it's to do with Little Sean. Like, anyway. Biggie wasn't the first. Craig Mack was the first artist. That's a fact. He was. Damn, I love this kind of video essays. Amazing job always, bro. Biggie and Tez says a lot about the friends who probably thought they had time to eventually squash their beef. I think that's the thing. I think eventually they were going to squash their beef. There was. But let me leave a comment. I'm going to say, if you deep I don't know, but this was a good watch, but there is therefore more to it. So much so that to me this didn't add to why Sean Combs could be linked to both, but this was still a great job. Because it's facts. Like from the way I saw it, there's more that could have been said. Like I said, because yeah, you're mentioning he's got links to this. It seemed like, you know, from Andre Harrell to who was the other person? Because they didn't even mention his friends. They didn't even mention Shakir Stewart. You know what I mean? That was also linked to Kim Porter, because they were dating at the time as well. No one, see, there's so many things that wasn't said. And the fact that he referenced Jaguar right instead of Gene Dill would have, for me, given this a lot more credibility to just add to this situation, because he's mentioned that Diddy, the situation with him and the situation with Diddy and Kim Porter, like, and he also mentioned, because even he mentioned about the whole, you know, situation with Albie Shaw and Kim Porter and the son Quincy and that. Like, I get what he's trying to say, but if he inserted, say he inserted a clip to do with Gene Dole explaining that whole situation, it would have added more credibility, in my humble opinion. And I'm only saying that because there's things that need to be said, but it's still a great job. Anyway, shout you out for watching. Get me. There's more tomorrow I'm going to react to. So anyway, make sure you like this video if you haven't already. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you stay subscribed so you're notified when I do upload again. When I do upload, but also when I also go live. See, this is how you know I'm tired. I'm saying the same things over and over. But anyway, yeah.